The thought of swatting fewer bees this summer may sound wonderful, but the Ohio honeybee shortage also has a definite downside. What it means for the food you eat. And Lee, our cold winter here may have an effect on a number of things we buy at the store, but it's not necessarily because of damaged crops. News Channel 5's Paul Kiska found out honeybees may be sparse this spring and summer, and Paul, that could mean big produce problems.
Well, it sure could, Danita. You know, it's been a 1-2 punch for honeybees around here for more than a decade. Actually, throughout the world, honeybees have been dying off mysteriously, and the last thing they needed was one of the worst winters in years.
This is one of our beehives that survived this winter.
Honeybees have thrived for thousands of years. But in the last decade, experts are puzzled by a colony collapse disorder. Honeybees that pollinate flowers, fruits, vegetables, and nuts are dying off. No one knows why, but what they do know is a brutally cold winter killed off 50 to 80% of local honeybees.
They all died. When we opened them in March, all the bees were dead.
The extreme prolonged cold probably did freeze them to death.
Chris Bond and Dr. Anna Lochi research honeybees at the Case University Biological Field Station in Hunting Valley. Even they're puzzled by how one beehive just yards away from two others would die off this winter, and the others nearby thrive. Not enough bees to create warmth, maybe, but each season the plot thickens, and our food supply and cost of groceries could be affected.
Because we know that without honeybee, we're going to have serious problem on food production.
As much as 2/3 of our food possibly gets pollinated by honeybees.
After a frigid winter, honeybees are hungry for nectar. The first source they seek, dandelions and clover, two things wiped out by weed killers. Mites, cold, and mystery reasons are affecting honeybees. But how can you help?
Stop using chemical pesticides. As I mentioned, not only do those kill the food sources, but the honeybees will, if they get exposed to it through drift or through consumption, they'll bring it back to their hive and possibly harm or weaken the rest of the hive.
Now, just here in Cuyahoga County alone, there's about 2,000 honeybee hive producers. But again, after this brutal winter, they lost 50 to 80% of their honeybees. Live in Cleveland tonight, Paul Kiska, News Channel 5.